More workplaces and schools in Japan have started banning chocolate. But to be clear, this isn't about chocolate itself as a food. In Japan, when people talk about chocolate, they are usually talking about Valentine's Day chocolate. But why would anyone need to ban it in the first place? Valentine's Day might make you think of flowers, cars, or a romantic dinner with your partner. But in Japan, it's a little different. For many Japanese people, when they hear Valentine's Day, the first thing that comes to mind is chocolate. As February 14th gets closer, department stores and convenience stores set up special Valentine's sections, and the whole city suddenly switches into Valentine's mode. And in Japan, Valentine's Day has traditionally been seen as the day women give chocolate to men. In fact, one survey found that among people in Japan who plan to give a Valentine's gift, the percentage who choose chocolate is like 62.4% for men and 85.2% for women. So why did chocolate become such a powerful symbol of Valentine's Day in Japan? In Japan, Valentine's Day started becoming widely known in the 1950s and 60s. At the time, it wasn't really a nationwide tradition yet. It was more like a new slightly special romance event spreading among young people. Back then, openly putting romantic feelings into words was even more, delicate than it is today. In Japan, it's also common for relationships to begin with a clear confession, saying something like, will you go out with me? But because of that, a day like Valentine's Day, where the perfect moment to say something is already within, was easy for people to accept. And the thing chosen to carry those feelings was chocolate. It looks cute and it's easy to adjust the price and amount. Then with promotions like, Merry Chocolate's Valentine's sales in 1985 and advertisement from major companies like Morinaga in the 1960s, the connection between Valentine's Day equal chocolate grew stronger and stronger. By the late 1960s into the 1970s, ready-made Valentine chocolate were lining store shelves, becoming the standard in Japan. Easy choice to give on confession day. At the same time, homemade chocolate also spread, where the preparation itself became part of the message, and the effort felt like proof of feelings. In that era, chocolate was still something you gave only to someone special. That's why it came with nerves, hope, and even the fear of rejection. Even today, Japan still has that unique Valentine season vibe every February. As chocolate became firmly established as a symbol of Valentine's Day in Japan, its role gradually expanded beyond romance. In Japan, chocolate came to be used less as a special gift to express feelings and more as a tool to keep relationships running smoothly. The clearest example of this is the rise of giri choco, obligation chocolate. Giri choco refers to chocolates given not out of romantic feelings but to coworkers, bosses, or classmates. What it communicates isn't affection or confession, but something closer to a polite greeting. Thank you for everything you do. And the key point is that neither the giver nor the receiver has to lead too deeply into it. That simplicity is exactly what helped the giri choco spread throughout Japanese society. Later, Japan also developed White Day on March 14th, creating a cycle where men return a gift to those who gave them chocolate, an exchange that became a deeply rooted Japanese tradition. Behind this is a particular way relationships often, work in Japan. There is a strong tendency to prioritizing, not damaging the relationship over clearly, stating whether you like someone or not. In some situations, doing nothing can be interpreted as indifference or even rude. So choosing not to give anything on Valentine's Day could actually create, awkwardness in, some places or sometimes. So chocolate became the perfect option to soften that kind of atmosphere. Over time, this trend expanded into tomochoco. It's a friend chocolate. Starting around the early 2000s, tomochoco is an exchange between friends and separated from romance or hierarchy, because you can casually give it not only to the opposite sex, but also to same-sex friends. It created a sense of safety as an event. There's no need to single out one person as special, and by doing the same thing together, the social atmosphere stays like stable. That side-by-side feeling was also easy for many people in Japan to accept. In this way, Valentine chocolate gradually moved away from its role as a romantic confession and began functioning as a tool for managing relationships. It shifted from chocolate meant to express I like you to chocolate meant to keep relationships smooth and harmless. Its meaning changed dramatically as you see. But at the same time, that change also created a different feeling. What was supposed to be a free, optional event slowly turned into something people felt they had to do. When I was abroad, Valentine's Day wasn't gone or anything. But I didn't feel that Japanese February vibe. The stores, the buzz at school or work. And honestly, I missed it. But what if something could bring back that small spark of Japanese Valentine's Day excitement wherever you are? Well, that's actually why I'm really happy about today's sponsor, Tokyo Treat and Sakurako. Tokyo Treat is the fun monthly snack box Japan exclusive treats shipped worldwide. This month's theme is Super Sweet Valentine. So I have to start with these strawberry shortcake Kit Kats. But strawberry is my favorite flavor, and this alone is enough to get me into the fun of Japanese Valentine's Day. Another one of my favorites this time is Nama Choco. It's so chewy and so sweet. Sakurako is the artisan box traditional seasonal sweets, Japanese tea, and an exclusive homeware item supporting local makers. The theme this month is a Kyoto's Valentine, and the homeware I got is this one, vintage kimono cross pouch. It's honestly so cute. As a hojicha lover, I really recommend the caramel bergamot hojicha. It's really delicious and perfectly pairs with the matcha senbei. And each box comes with a cultural booklet, fun articles, and snack descriptions and origin information. So if you want to make your Valentine season a little sweeter, check out the links below and use my discount code JAPANWITHNOW to get $5 off your first box. Big thanks again to Tokyo Treat and Sakurako for sponsoring this video. Alright, now back to the video. As Choco and Tomo Choco spread, Valentine chocolate in Japan gradually changed its nature. It stopped being something you give because you have feelings and started being treated as something you are simply expected to give. That shift was most visible in group settings like workplaces and schools. If you give chocolate to one person, it feels safer to give it to everyone. And if you give nothing, no one may say it out loud. But it can still feel awkward. But before people realized that kind of unspoken pressure had formed. And the burden didn't fall only on the giver, the receiver gained a different kind of pressure too. So, what should I give back? Would a price difference be rude? Well, you might think, you shouldn't have to worry this much, but you still can't really refuse. I remember this clearly when I was a student. Well, in my club, one of the girls who worked as a manager would always give chocolate to the team on Valentine's Day. Every year some people would return something and some wouldn't. The relations from the friendship didn't break because of that, but it may have created a subtle tension in the group. So these chocolate exchanges didn't always smooth relationships. Sometimes they created a new kind of tension in Japanese society. Well, with all of that piling up, Valentine's Day started to feel less like an exciting event and more like something you brace yourself for to avoid misunderstandings or trouble. But some schools and workplaces began discouraging these exchanges or even banning them. And here is the important point. It's not that people started hating chocolate. In most cases, the problem wasn't the taste or the product, of course. It was the role attached to it. But before anyone noticed, it became something you had to, navigate, worry about, and follow. And that shift is what started to wear people out. Here's something I've started to wonder about as a Japanese person while I'm filming this video. We are the one who helped spread the Gilchuk and Tomochoku culture, so why has it only recently started to feel like, such a, heavy burden? I can't help thinking there's another reason behind that shift. I couldn't find clear data to prove this, so this is just my personal theory. But I personally reckon one big change is this. Valentine chocolate shifted from something people made to something people buy. So when I was a student, almost like all the Valentine chocolate I received was homemade. Partly because kids don't have much money, but also because like homemade felt more like meaningful, as I explained, but especially for someone you truly liked. And I made chocolate myself too. What I realized is that, making chocolate for one person versus like for 10 people doesn't necessarily multiply the effort. Because you just like scale the ingredient and you can still make, one look special with a small extra touch. So when homemade chocolate was common, by giving to more people didn't automatically feel like a huge extra burden. But over the years, like Valentine chocolate became more attractive as a product in Japan. More variety, better design, better presentation. And today, people also have less time and more, distraction in society. So buying becomes the easiest option at the moment, as you imagine. So the problem is, buying chocolate costs money. And the more people you give it to, the more that cost increases, directly and visibly. So I think that's another reason why social chocolate has like started to feel heavier than it used to and make people feel financially burdened. Amid this growing fatigue and discomfort, Valentine's Day in Japan is starting to like sit in a different direction. And that changes shows up clearly in who the chocolate is for. More and more recently, the recipient is yourself. Take a look at this data. What's been growing in recent years is what people call reward chocolate or self-care chocolate. Instead of buying something cheap and practical, more people are choosing slightly higher end chocolate they wouldn't normally buy, like beautiful ones that are enjoyable just to look at and experience, but simply as a way to treat themselves for, working hard every day. Well, I can see this change clearly as a Japanese in the way the chocolate product sales pages and special stores websites have changed. And lately, another trend has become more visible, enjoying chocolate as a part of oshikatsu, fan culture. But people pick chocolate while thinking about their favorite idol, like character or cities, and share them on SNS. They enjoy limited Valentine's products through the lens of something they love. It's not chocolate for someone else. It's chocolate chosen to satisfy your own feelings. And in that, you can see a new form of Valentine's Day in Japan. In other words, Valentine's Day in Japan is becoming an event you can choose again. Not something you do to match other people, but something you take part in a way that feels life for you. Who you give it to, or whether you give anything at all, becomes your decision. That freedom is shaping what Valentine's Day looks like in Japan today. So Japan isn't actually done with chocolate, but it's slowly letting go of the role it forced chocolate to carry. Romance, obligation, like social pressure, manners. Chocolate carried all of that on its shoulder for decades, and now it's starting to become something lighter again, maybe. So what do you think about our Valentine chocolate culture? Let me know your opinion below. And if you enjoy this kind of deep dive into Japanese hidden social systems, I made another video you will probably like to watch. Alright, so thanks so much for watching. See you soon. Bye.